Okay, so pleasure to meet finally, everyone. And thanks for being here. I only have 30 minutes, and probably I could talk far more about the subjects I want to. So I'm trying to be as fast as I can, and hopefully not be too monotonous at the same time. So my name is Matt. I'm a senior technician and consultant from Eximetry, a company that has been previously shortly mentioned a couple of times ago. And what I'm shortly going to do is a couple of things. First, I'm going to talk a bit about ourselves so that you can place us in this vast university of virtual production that we have. And also, I am going to then try and prove a point to which I'm going to get momentarily. So the first things, and by the way, everything that you see behind me is coming from Eximetry, because why not? And also, this lovely thing that I hold in my hand is going to be my way of controlling my laptop from here, again, because of Eximetry. Why not? About us as a company, we have a couple more than 50 years behind us, 40,000+ customers, present in 80+ countries in 5 continents, big numbers and big numbers. And also, which is quite interesting, we are supporting 60+ universities worldwide, and also many more educational institutes. So why I mentioned this is because we strongly believe in education and in supporting students all across the globe to learn more about virtual productions in general. Of course, we are a tool provider. We create a software that you can use to create virtual productions, but this is our capabilities, this is what we can do to gain or provide access to such tools, and so that you can learn more about them. And generally speaking, our goal in terms of the company is to make virtual production accessible to everyone. And I did not put an asterisk there because I do believe that everyone means everyone, in the sense that there shouldn't be any exception. If someone wants to do virtual production, they should be able to do it. Well, in terms of the software that we provide, Eximetry is a virtual studio software that utilizes its native render engine plus Unreal's render engine. Now you can use either one or the other, or you can use 2 of them together. And with them, you can do all sorts of virtual production. You want to have a green screen production, you can do it. You want to have XR because you have like a huge LED wall at your disposal, let's do that. You want to have augmented reality, you can do that as well. If you want to combine them and have green screen with augmented reality, you can do that. With LED-wall and green screen together, why not? With LED-wall, green screen, and AR together, again, you can do it. So essentially, a tool is best when it can do what you need it to do. And that is what we are striving for and trying to recreate and put together. So generally, we usually listen to what people need and what they're asking for. We develop them, we share them, and we repeat it over and over again. And so far in the last 15 years, it's worked pretty hard and pretty well for us. Now, currently, Eximetry comes with a lot of cool features that you might find useful, like an award-winning chroma keyer, maybe for a still camera or for a track camera. We have our own calibration tools. We have our own tracking calibration tools. We have a nodal-based editor that looks like this. To give you an example, for example, and oh yeah, this is actually what you're seeing here. And this is the upper module there called screen capture. And if I switch back to the slideshow, then here we are. And we also have a lot of virtual production specific features that's going to facilitate or make your life easier. And also we can create control boards like the one that I'm currently working with that looks like, for example, this. And I'm just pressing buttons here, like that one, and I go back to being here at the presentation. So it's a fun little tool that you can fool around and work around, and it's quite a good thing to do so. So what I'm going to talk about today, as I mentioned, I'm trying to prove a point here, at least that's my goal, is 2 things. First, provide you with a budget-friendly virtual production case, and then show you some high-end virtual production cases, all trying to point into one single direction and challenge the preconception that virtual production is expensive, that you need a lot of tools, then you need a budget to put them together, and you need years and years of hard work and study life to do so. Ever since VFX has been around in Hollywood in the last 3 decades or a bit more so, that was the case for the most time. And also virtual production meant in most time is post-production. Now, Xemetry is a live rendering engine, and we do everything as we speak, including, for example, what you see behind me. So what am I going to do then? Oh, are we working? Yes, that is the one. And this is the one thing that I have now. Now you can see actually how I'm going to map a device right now. Simply going to assign a keyboard for that, like this one. And I'm going to switch to this particular thing. Okay, so I have a laptop here. That is my computer. I assume that most of you have a laptop at some point in your life, or currently you have a laptop. And I also have a cell phone in my disposal. This is all I need actually to make virtual production. Now, almost everyone has a cell phone today, almost everyone has a laptop today, so why not just use these tools at our disposal? And I'm also actually going to have an application on my cell phone called Xemetry, which is an experimental feature, to be honest. And the goal with this feature that we just developed recently is not to try and compete with bigger, more expensive tracking devices that you can get on the market, because they are there for a reason. And if you have worked with them, you know that they offer many benefits over, for example, a mobile phone. But, and this is a very important but on our part, the skills that is required for the operators behind the software, for example, or for the creative minds coming up with the stories, or basically any aspect of virtual production that is not tool specific, like a tracking device, for example, or a camera, is the same. It doesn't matter if you're working, for example, with tens of thousands of pounds, for example, camera, for example, or like a budget DSLR that you found on your shelf. What you need to do with them is pretty much going to be the same. And so you can start learning these techniques, and you can start learning these skills that you're going to need to develop your virtual production, for example, in the future. Now, I'm going to press a button here. And shortly, there's supposed to be a video feed. Ooh, all kinds of things here. And I'm also going to just make a quick check here by pressing a single button on this phone. Now, I need someone to take this phone from me. Anyone? Okay, one more thing that I need to mention is that we are currently on the university's Wi-Fi network. And generally speaking, we recommend a separate local area network so that you can do what you want to do with it. So there might be a lot of traffic on this network that might interfere, for example, with what you're going to see there. So what you see behind me is a straight feed from the camera through Wi-Fi to my laptop, all the way to Zoom, and all the way out to the Word. Basically, that's a phone, that's a laptop, and those are already some AR graphics that you can see. Now, of course, this is a bit, well, you mentioned 48 hours challenges. This was less than an hour, so you're going to see the limitations of it. And also a couple more things that might be fun. But you can already do some fun things with it. If I am pressing the right buttons, yeah, you can animate them, for example, if you want to, or you can animate them again, because why not? And you can also move these items, like let's say, let's make them further behind, or let's place them somewhere else. Like, let's place them over Christopher. And at the same time, just make a turn. If you check something around there, I assume that you can see on the space that there's gonna be now the wall. Yes, there it is. No, it was a little right above. Exactly. So there's now the animation, and there can come the airplane if I'd like to. Yeah, there is a specific thing that I would need. So you can do all kinds of these crazy things actually. And the funny part about this, because I tried yesterday, because I had a crazy idea that could it work even without the Wi-Fi? What if I have a friend who has a cell phone, and the friend can create a hotspot, connect the laptop to the hotspot, connect the other phone to the hotspot, and use that as a hub to share the video feed and a tracking device. And funny enough, it works. Now, of course, the connection is of importance in this case. So if you have, for example, a very, very long reception, you might lose some tracking data packets, or the video might shake a bit, for example, in terms of you lose a couple of frames as you go. But just a simple idea that, okay, if you want to go out to the nearest forest, for example, and shoot a virtual production with your friend in an afternoon using some AR graphics and elements, you can do it. All you need are probably the tools that you already have at your disposal. So as simple as that. That's one fun thing. Also, if, for example, you want to go a grade higher and achieve something a bit more interesting, then I'm going to stop this for a second. And I am going to actually load in for a moment. Let's try this one. A different scene. Thank you. I'm going to take the phone back. Kind of neat. Okay, so what I'm going to do next actually is a bit of a post-production. So I have a phone, of course, right? And I can use it as a live video input, and I can use the live tracking data. Why not? It's funny enough. But I can also use this to make recordings. So let's say, for example, I have access to a green screen studio, and I can just simply bring my laptop, my phone, for example, go there, set up the lights, have a talent stand in front of the green screen, act some bits, for example, and in Symmetry, I can receive and record the raw video input, and I can record the raw tracking data. Now, since I've done that, I can always use that for post-production. And I can actually use those recordings and put them anywhere I want to. So here in this particular moment, and you can see me, lovely. Okay, I actually have my playback video file that I can just turn off, or I can just turn on, that I previously recorded. And again, I mentioned this is a mobile phone recording that I have put here. Will it be imperfect? Absolutely. Did it take a lot of time and effort? No. So I'm just going to actually run through the setup process for a while and just check one more thing. Yeah, this is what I need to pull here probably. Nope. Nope. Or may I be hearing the wrong? Yeah, Symmetry also, among many other things, is a video editor that you can do if you want to. Oh yeah, that's the input. Perfect. Okay, so I can just simply pick a background color from here. There we are. So I set the greens color. Then I'm just going to switch, for example, to a Maté view and just quickly make one cut, two cuts. Well, black jeans are not the perfect tools for such environment, as we learned the hard way, but they are there. So that was a quick setup. Also, I need a 3D cropping tool, actually. It's quite convenient right here. You just take it a bit closer, cropping from the left side, cropping a little from the right side. Now, when I teach about the use of Symmetry, this is not how I usually do things, and not how I usually explain things. But right now, they are going to just work fine. 10, thank you. All right, a little from the front. And there we are. Almost, may I say. A bit of a rendering there. Let's just place the talent somewhere. Seems like a good spot. Let's use a billboard for it. Let's place the billboard as well. So everything you see, I'm doing it right now live with you guys. You can see it's really not that much of a challenge. Okay, can be that way. And of course, I could further perfect it, but this is where I am. And one more thing, let's turn that off. Let's turn that one off and see what I just had created. One more thing from here. Let's just output two things for the sake, perhaps a fourth one. Now, there I am. With mobile phone recording, in post-production, I can move around. Of course, it's not perfect, but as you can see, it took me like 3 minutes to put it together from recording. And there I am. Now, if you give me more time, I can do better things. Nevertheless, what I'm trying to prove here, as I mentioned, is that you do not need a lot of things to get started. You do not need a lot of time, for example, or money to create the necessary resources and environment so that you can finally start the first step, for example, in virtual production. And you don't even need the studio for that matter. So you can do all kinds of crazy things, for example, for the next year. And by the next time that Christopher is going to come around and say, hey, next 24 hours challenge, for example, is here, the 48 hours challenges, you can be as experienced as almost none of your contemporary students, for example, or peers, if you want to be. The opportunity is right there. Now, these are actually for the budget categories. But if you get back to the previous subject that we had, right, say here, switching between scenes can be an interesting thing. And am I where I want to be? Perfect. Okay. Then there's also a couple other cases, for example, that you can see. One, for example, if you have more budget and more time, then you create all sorts of green screen productions, for example, that you can see behind me, that are all shot, for example, across the globe from different creative artists, to which we are very proud, to be honest. And it's the same software. So Xemetry now currently is used by TikTokers and YouTubers, and also by national televisions. Some of the content creators that we work with produce content on a daily basis. Some of them produce content on a weekly basis that is watched by millions of viewers worldwide. And the software right there on my computer is free of charge. Now, I know it sounds crazy. Of course, when it's free of charge, there's going to be a watermark on the output. But if you want to get rid of it, that costs you €3 per month. If you want to get rid of it and have, for example, Unreal as well, that's going to be like €15 per month. Last time I tried in London, that's 2 pints of beers. So also, you can have, for example, extra productions for that method. I'm not going to show you the entire video because why not? But again, still Xemetry. And also, if you want to, for example, shoot AR, and AR has a tremendous benefit, for example, an advantage that many people, for example, do not talk about, in my opinion, is that you can scale it anyhow you want to. Now, this particular show ran last Saturday in Western Asia. And again, it's Xemetry, and it is above a football stadium. And it's AR. And the guys brought a couple of cameras, a couple of computers, and they shot an entire show that was watched by, if I'm not mistaken, around 80 to 100 million people. And it was fun. And of course, I can speed up the things a bit because there's going to be a lot of animations here. Of course, this was just an opening ceremony and then the concert, which is not here, but going to be here. Yeah. Again, AR. And in the last minutes before the show started, we were having a conversation with them and saying how they can blur the AR graphics, add some noise to it, just to mimic the optical quality of the cameras that they had. So it's going to look more like the part of the show. So generally speaking, there's a lot of things that you can do with Xemetry. And there's a lot of things I have not talked about virtual productions. to give you an idea. And those are right here. Yes. Q&A time. And also, if you want to scan the QR code, I created a landing page for you on our website to offer you some more resources where you can learn more about what we do, learn more about not connected to us about virtual productions, what we've learned about virtual productions, and also some nice tools and gadgets that might be of your interest. And if at this point there's any question, I'm more than happy to answer. No. All right. There's plenty of examples for that. We also have a content creator in France. Yes. Oh yeah. So the question was that what I'm showing here is an amazing broadcast production tool actually. And if there's any people who use it, for example, for single camera drama, and the answer is yes. There are several actually people and several customers of ours and clients and friends who are shooting, for example, in their garage, for example, or in their apartment with a single camera TV shows and YouTube shows that they then broadcast and give away. So I move around a lot, I know. So in a sense, there is no limitation. If you want to use a single camera with symmetry, you can. If you want to use, for example, dozens of camera with symmetry, you can as well. You have tracking devices, perfect. You have no tracking device, doesn't matter. You have no tracking device, but you want to track a camera, you can do that with symmetry as well. So essentially, we have a running joke in our office. Whatever you say, we can do it with symmetry. And the even bigger joke is that 99% of the cases is true. And even we are surprised sometimes what we can achieve with it. It is, yes. I'm not the sales department, so I'm limited in terms of what I can say, but we actively and we are eagerly seeking opportunities to share what we achieved and what we created. And so if someone is eager to learn, we usually find a very good relationship between each other that is mutually beneficial actually. But the point is usually on providing the tools that is needed for education to learn more about virtual production. Doesn't matter where those students going to go in the future. What matters is what opportunities they have now. I'm listening. I just one. You didn't hear the question online. But the last question was that it seems that we are very generous to universities. I believe so. Well then, it's a pleasure being here. And thank you for the invitation and for the details.